Hi, I'm Aaliyah Woods, co-founder of CommonWealth Urban Farms. This is our beginning gardener video series designed to help you have a successful garden even if you've never planted a seed in your life. So today we're going to continue planting our fall garden. It's the first week in September. It's still hot, but it's going to cool down soon, I just know it. So we're going to keep on planting. Our summer crops are still producing the peppers and chichitos. Still got some sun golds coming along, a few yard longs. The hyacinth bean looks fantastic, not blooming yet, but it will be soon. Of course, the basil the purple basil is as beautiful as ever. We're going to make some room in these smart pots for the next few crops. So this is a smart pot where we planted the broccoli a couple weeks ago, and it's really looking great. It got kind of chewed up by the cabbage loopers, the little green caterpillars. But we did put some BT on it to kill the caterpillars, and it has revived. You can see the damage here, but the new leaves are looking great. There's a little bit of wheat seed that sprouted from the straw that we put down. It's not hard just to pull it out. So in this bed, we got a little bit of space on the two sides of the bed where the broccoli, it's going to be a while before the broccoli gets big enough to shade that out. So I'm going to plant radishes here because radishes are very fast growing. They will grow and mature and be ready to harvest in just 30 days. And that will be, I think, before the broccoli gets big enough to cause any problems with shading them. So I'm just going to make a little space here, push the straw over, make a little gully with my finger, get some radish seed. This is French breakfast radish, one of my favorites. Really pretty radish. Long skinny radish with red, half red and half white. So I'm going to drop some radish seed in here. I'm aiming for about 1 inch apart between seeds. We usually get very good germination on radish seeds, close to 100% often. So I'm going to plant them about the spacing that I want them to be. And then just gently push some soil over it. We just want to barely cover them. And then I'm going to put some straw back on top. Those little seedlings will just push right through the straw. And let's do it on this side of the bed too. Make a little indentation here. So if you think about the size of a full-grown radish, then you can use that to estimate how far apart you want to plant the seed. Give it room to size up. And just push the dirt over. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of straw, keep it from drying out too quick. And we'll water it in a minute here. And we're good to go. Alright, so I also want to plant some lettuce. Now last week we planted mini head lettuce right over here in this bed. It looks really good. It looked kind of pitiful after we planted it, but it looks beautiful now. Just a week and it's revived and started to really grow. Pull out some of those wheat seed sprouts. So that's great for either head lettuce or with spacing this close, there'll be mini heads. The arugula that we planted from seed last week has popped right up and is growing very nicely. So we'll have a great box garden of arugula right there. But in addition to the head lettuce, I also want to plant some baby lettuce for cut and come again. I've run out of smart pots and extra containers, and I really don't want to mess with bringing another container in. So we're just going to use what we have and start pulling out the fall crops that are kind of winding down and using that space. So in this bed, we've got basil that will still produce some, but it won't be long before the basil is winding down. So I'm going to just go ahead and pull this plant out because I need the space. I'll go ahead and use these leaves. They'll be fine. But I'm just pulling the whole plant out by the root. Take off that dirt. I'm going to leave the Swiss chard in because the chard will produce all fall and on into early winter. On through the winter actually, if we keep it covered enough. I'll put that aside. Alright, so now I've got a nice space for planting the lettuce. I'm going to add a little fresh compost. I always like to put some compost down every time I plant. Now, I didn't with the radishes, but we had just planted that bed. It still had fresh compost in it. So a layer of compost. Alright, and now I'm going to grab some lettuce seed. This is a mix of different kinds of lettuces, reds and greens, leaf lettuce, butter crunch, romaine, that we've put together. And just shake a little bit into my hand. It's really easy to overplant when you're broadcasting seed. Each of these seeds has the potential to turn into a whole plant. They'll be small plants because we're cutting them at a young stage, at a baby stage. But still, they need a little bit of room to grow. So just a few seeds there. We don't always get 100% germination on lettuce, but we get pretty good. And then I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of this fine compost on top, just enough to barely cover the seed. Rule of thumb, plant the seed twice the depth of the thickness of the seed. So with lettuce seed, that is not very deep. Lettuce actually needs light for the seed to germinate. So by covering it lightly, there's still some light that gets through. And now I'm going to just break up some straw and put a very fine layer of straw on top. It will really help keep the soil from drying out as quick. Today was, I think, 97 degrees, so things are drying out pretty fast. And we're going to have maybe a couple more days of that. So the straw will help moderate the soil temperature and hold moisture in. All right. Now I also want to plant some kale. And we don't really have space, but there's a little patch here next to the peppers. The peppers are kind of leaning that way towards the south. And I've got this patch where I'm just going to tuck in a few kale seeds so we can have some baby kale for salad or let it get a little bit bigger and use it for cooking. All right, now let me add some compost. Just so long as it gets some sun, then I think it'll be fine. And we're going to do the same thing as with the lettuce. We're just going to sprinkle a little bit of seed on top. Not very much. This is actually probably a little bit too much. Kale is a brassica. It's in the broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower family, and we tend to get very good germination with brassicas. So be especially careful not to overplant with them. Sprinkle a little bit of compost on top. And then again, I'm going to put some straw down here. Just break it up. And do a thin layer of straw. Yeah. Now we will water it in. I'm going to make sure I move the seeds out of the way, even though they're in plastic containers. I don't want them to get wet. So, water our radishes first. Just a reminder, when you've planted seed, the seed is small, it's easy to wash it around, wash it away. So we want to use a fine watering method, not just point the hose at it and go. Make sure you use either a nozzle on the hose that gives you a fine spray, or a watering can is really the safest way to go, the gentlest way to go. Alright, so for right now, we just need to get the surface of the soil moist, where the seeds are. Once the seeds start putting down roots, then we need to get the root zone moist when we water. But for right now, it's just that surface. Alright, there we have it. So we'll check on them in a couple more weeks and see how they're doing. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Happy gardening.